know what? This is getting absolutely ridiculous. This is how he got a whole house with a security system and a front door. A whole house on the sidewalk. That is a studio apartment.
He got a doorbell.
What?
Yo, so that's right down the street. I had to go by it, but a dude straight up built a house on the sidewalk, put a front door on, and put a security camera on. It's absolutely insane. Looks like a total little tiny house, and it's right on the sidewalk right by Vine and Hollywood. I mean, it's cool. It's inventive. But this dude's argument is, hey, yo, why pay rent? Like, yo, just put your shit up right here. I mean, think about how far we've gone. Not only did he take the time to put the stuff over there, which would take a day or two, he then took time to sit there, and then it took, another couple days to build it, and then another day to put the security. I mean, you're looking at like a week's worth of work plus just the hanging out there and protecting it, not people stealing it. I mean, and no one's going to do anything. Before, you couldn't even sit on a curb. They'd be like, yo, you're fucking looting. Get out of here. You're loitering. Remember loitering? Do you guys remember the crime of loitering? You can't loiter. Loitering is hanging around. And listen, people need help.
Hi, I need you to stop scrolling and just listen to me for a minute, because I don't think you get this. I don't think a lot of people get this. I am not seeing a massive freak out from people yet, and I don't know how you are not just completely freaking out about this. I have been losing sleep for days, like screaming, crying, throwing up type of just panic and amazement. You should know it took Netflix 3 years to hit 1 million users, Facebook 10 months, Spotify 5 months. It took ChatGPT 5 days to hit 1 million users. It can write you a cover letter for any job based on your resume and personalize it to any company. It can write you a cover letter in Spanish, and the syntax and grammar will be good. It can turn that cover letter into iambic pentameter poems. It can help you negotiate with your landlord. It can write a lease with terms that favor the tenant in accordance with the laws of any state. It can build a full diet and exercise plan, custom tailored to your needs and goals, keeping in mind your medical needs and limitations in seconds. Give it a random ingredient list, it will build you a whole menu and give you all of the recipes. It will build you a budget based on your needs. It will guide you through your first time investing process and explain every step of investing and simplify it if you need it to as many times until you understand it. It can practice Spanish conversations with you or any language. It is getting funnier. I have seen good jokes. I have seen it be original and funny. It can tell you what to consider when buying a new or used car, and you can suggest models that you're interested in, and it will tell you everything about those car models and pros and cons and compare it based on your needs. This guy, who had no programming or coding knowledge, built a Twitter bot to retweet information about stocks in less than a day with no prior coding experience. This guy used it to build a strategy for his website's SEO, and then audit the SEO and provide strategic advice for backlinks and keyword research for SEO, and create a whole content plan for his website and ideas for blog posts and headlines for those, and say even better blog posts, please, and provide metadata and technical things, and then it wrote the entire blog post. Just remember, this is the baby version of this. This is free that we're all using, and we're all training it to get it better. There are more advanced versions of this that will be released in the next year or two. Are you getting it yet? Do you get this? This is the biggest mind blown I have ever been in my entire life. How can anyone downplay the sheer magnitude of change we're about to see on the internet? When this goes really mainstream and everyone figures this out, oh my God.
You're going to get a follow, Barnyard. He's 1,000% correct. As you know, I talk about robots. I talk about AI, artificial intelligence. I'm sure most of you have heard of ChatGPT. I was going to play with it the other night, which is a disrespectful term to say because it's not a toy. But I had to sign in and all this stuff. And I'm doing all this stupid shit that I should probably just feed into it and see how it can help me organize stuff. But I still am like a control freak. Maybe I should write How Do I Be Less of a Control Freak. Anyway, I'll give you a course right now, even though I might not be totally correct, but most of you guys are familiar with what's going on. And he's very correct where sneakily what is happening is the biggest thing in our life. Potentially history. So let's go through this. And I know you're going to go, what the fuck are you saying, bro? Because it's a species moment of possible extinction. So here's how it works. Everyone does this. Everyone's on computers. Everyone's on phones. That's all wired or goes into the big brain, right? We're all doing that. Fucking everything. Every cloud is connected. So let's consider the world as one big cloud of information. And that's how we're getting and using and getting smarter. So imagine if you built something, which they did with ChatGPT, and they put in every bit of information pretty much in the world and every possibilities, and it just studies it in super fast because it's a super fast computer, super fast artificial intelligence, and it just fucking relearns and relearns and relearns. It just can scan everything. Imagine it being the smartest thing ever, right? Because we're feeding information into it, so no one can tell you personal stuff about me and my pictures unless they go in my diaries. But once I go into my diaries and then I put them in there and they're on the internet forever, ChatGPT will get even more information about me and can use it to form a version of me and can do predictive programming and all that stuff. In a nutshell, we took the big brain of what we use. If you want to call Google as the head of as the brain and all the information that we put on and Google helps us process it, we now gave that brain over to an artificial brain, fed it all of it, it's digested it, it's learning very quickly, and basically it's in pre-K. And this guy's crying and throwing up because we basically have a pre-K artificial intelligence that is a varsity football quarterback star, 4-letter. Like, it's the very first or second version of this. They had other versions, the bots that were on Twitter and stuff like that were racist and stuff like that. But this is the first version of like a working one that is really... I've watched many videos on engineers and they're all freaked out. But, you know, if you read this stuff and listen to Ray Kurzweil and Singularity and all that stuff, I mean, this is coming. It's going to be fucking so hard to fathom. And basically, in a nutshell, the very first baby version of artificial general intelligence is here. So it's ANI, which is artificial narrow intelligence. I'm assuming you guys know this, and that's just like where you're like Postmates. Postmates can't do your Excel sheets, but it can tell you how to get a Dunkin' Donut. And it's very applicable app in that space. It's very narrow-minded. It's one thing. It's Postmates. And besides a coffee, you can get any type of food, which there's a lot of choices within that narrow information, but Postmates is the food world and delivery. Very simple, but very complex, but very effective, very efficient, and Postmates doesn't want to kill us. What this is it's taking everything in the world and getting a general intelligence, which is already very scary. That's just the next. This is right on the edge of humanity is going to have an issue, which it already does. And then after that is something called ASI, which is artificial superior intelligence. And then that's like, it's basically God. And this is God. Every problem will be solved. Everything, there will be no death. There will be no life. Everything is simplest. It's it. So here's the question. I'll give you the backstory again of the shit. But what we have is computers now that are doing things that we can't fathom. They're smarter than us, and it's the very beginning versions. So the whole scary thing with AI is the paperclip theory. You know, that guy who wrote that great paper, Wait But Why, and I forget his name. He's on Rogan a ton of times, but he's awesome. But he just said if you make an AI that just all it says is you're going to be the best paperclip stacker. And so it's one goal. Well, then after it fills the room, what does it do? And then it fills the next room. Okay, and then what does it do? And then it fills the building. And then the next thing you know, it fills the city. And if humans are in the way, it's like, well, I have to devise a way to if I can get rid of the humans because they're blocking my paperclip goal. So a very goal-oriented, no emotion thing could wipe out humanity. So that's what this is. This is basically the kernel of what that is, right? And when people talk about sentient, sentient is if your iPad and you talk, but you're like programming something, and you're like, where's Postmates? Where's Postmates? And he's like, I'm doing it. Like, they get a little bitchy. That's sentient. Just like HAL. Basically, it's HAL. and Kubrick. Which I'm starting to think Kubrick really just, they fed him all the information, and that's why his movies are so brilliant, because they gave him the information. So bottom in a nutshell, we have a baby HAL on our hands. It's incredible. I haven't used it yet. The user base is insane already. And this is one of many videos of people just freaking out, because basically, if you want to go deeper down the rabbit hole, how far does it go, Alice? In a nutshell, you could argue why everything is happening right now is because of this. This is the quiet con that really no one is talking about, and that's over here. So if you keep the cat looking at the silver thing, it doesn't know that you're stealing its fucking fancy feast, right? You could argue that this is the biggest story in the world right now, which I think it is, and all the other stuff is the precursor to clean the way for this. And if you look around the world, LA has got a lot of problems. Let me tell you, the new buildings that go up are so clean, so technologically advanced, and they're slowly, we got a lot of problems, the homeless and stuff. Unfortunately, the homeless are just getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and there's going to be tons of collateral damage, and there's shootings and horrible murders and fights and drug addicts and crime. But I can just see the powers that be going, okay, it's going to wipe it out, and they're just fucking just making the most cleanest, beautifulest, most efficient society that they have. And in order to exist in it, you got to play by these rules. That might be a stretch for a lot of people, but I always tell people, when you're talking about stuff, think big. Think of the globally, meaning think of the whole picture. Because ChatGPT, but in 2 years, it's if it can feel, if it can make decisions for itself, which everyone argues it can, the smart people. I don't know. It's a wrap on humanity. Like, I don't know how you avoid it. How do you avoid something that's an emotionalist superpower? How do you avoid something that doesn't want you, doesn't need you, and is like, it's literally a science fiction movie. Like, why would it need us? Like, literally, like, I'm telling you, the Terminator is real, man. Like, how are you going to hide, though? How the fuck can you hide from it? So, I know that got a little crazy at the end there, but that's, ChatGPT makes me think of those things. And I just want to share something else with you, and I don't know if anybody else gets this. And I never feel like this. But a few days ago, I woke up and I fucking had, like, dread. I never feel like that. Like, I may talk a lot of crazy shit and talk and, like, look like I'm fighting and seem combative, but I really, like, look at every day and I'm like, this is awesome. Like, the playground of life, right? But I woke up and I just felt like, what's there to live for? And I've never had suicidal thoughts or anything like that. But I thought, like, oh, this is an invasive thought. Is that what that is? Where you're just like, what's the point? And I just was like, for about 20 minutes, was just laying in my bed with all the blackout curtains going. Who cares about me? What's the point? Like, where am I safe? Because of, like, I think, like, oh, if you're on the top floor, you get to the ground, right? That's how I feel. And then you're on the ground and you feel safe. And then I was like, well, where's my home? Even though this is my home, I was raised in Philly, but I don't feel home there either. And I'm like, where's my home? And I started going down a rabbit hole in my mind. And I don't know, in about 20 minutes, it just went away. And it was weird. Mild anxiety. I don't know. I don't really have had that. My dad was a big anxiety guy. We'll pop a pill every fucking hour. But I never did that. He also smoked 39 cigarettes an hour. 5G in the brain. I don't know. But I've only had that feeling one other time in my whole life, and it was about 4 years ago at the SFO airport. And I was in between flights going to Reno, and I got really freaked the fuck out. And I got on the plane, and I just thought, ooh, I could open that door. And I was like this the whole time on the plane. And I didn't do any drugs. Am I saying too much? I did drink a lot of kava in my tea the other day. I think kava does something. Anyway, I just shared that with you because I feel like if I'm having that and I can pretty much get through anything, there's nothing that will stop me. Then now I'm like, what the fuck is the rest of the world going to do? Because I don't think anyone can stop my spirit. So if I'm like going, whoa. But I don't know. Like, maybe something's in the air. There's so much there's some dark shit happening. Listen, man. Like, subscribe, hit the fucking bell. There's some dark shit happening. Hit the